Hello everyone, my name is John and welcome to another educational video by Vulgar Kitten Studios. Alright, so what we're going to be doing in this video is actually something a little bit different than what you may be used to seeing on my channel or our channel. Me and one other guy are actually the only two in Vulgar Kitten Studios. I pretty much do technical tasks, code and such, and he takes care of art and design and that sort of stuff. So what we primarily do is video game development, and we've put out a few series just helping people get started with Unity 3D. Now, this is going to be different from that. I don't want you to think that we're not doing video game development stuff anymore. It's just we're taking things kind of in a new direction and broadening our horizons a little bit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up a web server completely from scratch using the program called Cygwin, which is a POSIX compliant terminal system for Windows. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started, and I want to talk about the difference a little bit. You may have heard of something like WAMP, or for that matter, XAMPP or XAMPP, however you pronounce it. I pronounce it XAMPP. But these are just pre-compiled web server programs that you can set up on your Windows machine, your Windows environment, and just use it as a development environment for web applications. Those are all fine and good. I don't have any problem with those at all. I just want to show you how to do some cooler stuff that is a little bit more roundabout, geeky kind of things. So that's what I'm going to do, and also look forward to Sparky's new series. He'll be teaching the basics of Blender and GIMP and showing you guys how to get started with video game art. But like I said, that's for another series. I just wanted to put that out there and let you know what's going on. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to go ahead and go over to Cygwin.com. So I'm going to just go to Cygwin.com, and we'll go ahead and click Install Cygwin, and we're going to get the 32-bit version. I am actually running a 64-bit architecture, and just so you can see, I have this themed a little strange, so you may not be used to seeing this, but this is Windows 7 Professional, and I'm running the 64-bit version. Now, 64-bit is actually backwards compatible with 32-bit, and 32-bit for Cygwin is actually a little bit more stable in my experience. And there's a wider range of developers for Cygwin who make packages and applications for 32-bit rather than 64-bit. So that's why I've opted to go with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and download the exe right now, and right meow. Go ahead and run this, and go ahead and click next. We're going to install from the internet. And right here is where you're going to see something a little different. You're going to see Cygwin, C:/Cygwin, and just a brief explanation of what this is. I'm going to go to my hard drive, and I'm going to show you these are the default Windows folders that you're going to have in any Windows 7 operating system that you'll ever see. Now, what this is going to do, if you just leave it at Cygwin, then it's going to create a new folder called Cygwin, and in this folder you'll have your Cygwin folders like home and binary and so on and so forth, all within the Cygwin folder. Now the problem with this is that every time that whenever you use the Cygwin terminal, you're only going to have access to contents of this folder here. You won't be able to access any of your Windows folders, so I don't really like that, and that's why I remove it. So I'm just going to do this and take off that Cygwin and install it to the root of my hard drive. And Cygwin usually will tell you that it doesn't want you to do that. However, I've not had any problems with doing that. You can try it at your own risk, but speaking from experience, I've never had any problems installing it directly to the root. So next we're going to choose the location of our local package directory. I like to keep mine in downloads just because it makes more sense. What happens is in your downloads folder, once you start installing packages, you'll see a new temporary folder with all of the packages that Cygwin downloads and installs. So to me it just makes more sense to keep it in downloads. You can put this wherever you want to, but I'm just going to keep mine in downloads and click next. I'm going to use a direct connection, and then it's going to ask me for a mirror that I want to install from. The mirror that I've found to be the most reliable is http://mirrors.kernel.org. There's an FTP version as well. However, just the other day when I was using this FTP mirror here. I got a message saying that it was no longer supported, so I'm just using HTTP. However true that is, I'm not really sure. If you feel like using FTP protocol over HTTP, then go ahead and try it out. Be my guest. I don't think there's going to be any harm in doing that. We'll go ahead and click next, and now we're going to get a list of packages that we want to install. By default, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I get wget, because I'm going to show you another way to install packages as well through the command line without having to use this interface here every time. So I'm going to click the skip button here, and that's going to change into the version of the package that I want to download. So I'm just going to go ahead and get webget, and we're going to go ahead and get our server stuff from within this interface as well, because if you try to install Apache through the command line with the script that I'm going to show you how to use, you're going to get problems. So we're just going to go ahead and do it through here, and I'm going to go ahead and type Apache, and we're going to get everything in the web directory. So we're going to click this default and then select everything, and then we're going to get this Apache to mod PHP 5 embedded PHP for Apache 2X. We're going to grab that as well. And finally, we're going to go ahead and get MySQL. So we're going to just Google MySQL, or not Google, but search for MySQL. And then under database, we're going to get two packages. We're going to get the MySQL database client apps and MySQL-D. And that should be everything that we need for right now. Let's just go ahead and click next. And the next screen that you will see is actually a list of all of the dependencies that it's going to download onto your system. And by default, you have this check mark here saying select required packages checked on. So you do want to leave that checked on, or else some of the packages that you selected won't actually work as you expect them to. So we're going to go ahead and click next and let that install. And this is going to take a little bit to install. So while that's running, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find another program called Autohotkey. Now this program is actually a macro system for Windows that allows you to extend the user interface of Windows and just automate tedious or remedial tasks a little bit more efficiently. And this program is a lot more powerful and has a lot more features than what I'm just going to show you today. But that's for another video. I'm just going to show you how to use this macro system to make a hotkey so you can open your terminal from anywhere without having to navigate through any menus or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and click download Autohotkey and just download the exe for that. And we'll click the installer and just go ahead and run the installation. So I'll go ahead and click next and agree to everything and go ahead and enable drag and drop support and click next and install, and there we go. So now we have this readme file. I'll just open this up real quick and we'll take a look at it. What this is the documentation for the macro language that is Autohotkey. And if you find yourself becoming an avid Autohotkey user, you'll come in this file quite a bit just to learn how everything works and to just use it as a reference. So one cool thing, what I'm going to do is show you the hotkeys contents, and in here you will find information on all of the corresponding characters to characters on your keyboard that you can use, and the ones that we're going to be looking for are the control key and the alt key, which the control key is indicated by the caret symbol, so shift 6, and alt is indicated by the exclamation point, so shift 1. And we're going to use control alt T to open up the command or the command line, just like we would see on most Linux distributions as well. Okay, so go ahead and close that down, check on our installation, and it's almost done. So I'm actually going to pause until it's completed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that's completed, and the last screen that we'll see in the Cygwin installation is going to ask us if we want to create shortcuts. As you can see, I don't actually like to keep shortcuts on my desktop, so I'm going to uncheck this, but I absolutely am going to leave add an icon to the start menu checked on, and you'll want to do this too, and you'll see why in just a minute. So we'll go ahead and click finish, and first of all, we can go ahead and open up our Cygwin terminal directly from the start menu. And the very first time we ever open it up, this is what we see. It's created our bash RC and our bash profile and everything in our home directory. So if we just pwd, we can see where we're at. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our hard drive, and now we can see all of these new folders and a couple of files in here for the Cygwin installation. So if we go into home, we can see this folder called John, which is my username on my computer, and here's all of the profile or all of the files that it actually created for me. Okay, so now I'm just going to customize this a little bit and make it a bit prettier. So I'm going to right click on the title bar and go to options. I'm first of all going to give it a medium transparency. I'm going to change the text to something a little bit larger, and I'm also going to enable right click to paste and just go ahead and click apply, and now you can see that a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to work with now. Okay, so now we need to set up our hotkey, and the very first thing that I'm going to do is actually create an Autohotkey script. So I'm going to come into my documents, and I'm just going to store this in here. So I'll just right click and create a new. Now we have this option to create a new Autohotkey script, or we can just do that with a text file, and I'm going to do that with a text file. So I'm going to call this AHK and change the file extension to .ahk. And yes, I'm going to change. If you're unaware of how to change a file extension from within Windows Explorer, just go over to Organize, Folder and Search Options, View, and then uncheck Hide Extensions for Known File Types. And that will give you the ability to change the file extension. So I'm just going to open this with Sublime Text because I already have syntax highlighting in here. And and one more thing. Also, if you don't want to modify your Windows Explorer, you can also change the file extension just by, like, even if we use Notepad, if we save a document as, and go to all files, then you can put in whatever file extension you want to in here. So that's another way to do it. Sorry for the sidetrack. And now I'm just going to go ahead and put a semicolon to indicate that I want to make a comment, and I'm going to say open the Cygwin terminal. And we're going to use Shift 6, Shift 1, and the letter T, 2 colons, indicating that whatever we want to do, whatever we put next is what we want to actually do after we hit Control Alt T, and we're going to run. And what we're going to run, we're going to put in double quotes. So the reason that we put the Cygwin terminal in the Start menu is because now we can go ahead and just go to Cygwin, and then right click on the Cygwin terminal shortcut, go to Properties, go to General, and then grab this location right out of here. And this is the recommended way to do it like that because you don't want to open the Minty program directly. If you do that, then it won't be routed through the command prompt and none of your commands will work. So just grab the shortcut. So we'll also put in Cygwin terminal as the shortcut in this directory and just Control S. Now I'm going to come back over here, just make sure I close out of that, and I'm going to double click my script to run it, and we'll see this new Autohotkey icon down here in our system tray, and that's our script. So if we make any changes in here, we can actually just right click and then reload script, and that'll work. And one more thing, I don't want to have to run it manually every time I turn on my computer, so I'm going to go ahead and create a shortcut, open up my Start menu, go to All Programs, find the Startup File, Explore, or folder, not file, and just grab that shortcut and put it in there. So now anytime I reboot my computer, this script will run automatically. So now I'll go ahead and just exit out of here. So we'll exit, and I'll hit Control Alt T, and now we get our terminal. Okay, so I said that I was going to show you how to install programs from the command line. And just to test this, I'm just going to output something on the screen. I'll pwd and then try to clear, and we can see that the bash command is not found. So we need a package in order to use the clear command, so that's how we'll test it. And first of all, we're going to use wget apt or http://apt sig.google.code.com/svn/trunk/apt-tac-sig, and we'll download that, and then we'll just mv apt-tac-sig to /bin/apt-tac-sig. And I say tac, I mean dash. That's just a terminology that I got in the habit of using. So that's what I mean when I say that. And we'll just move that. Now we'll chmod plus x bin apt-tac-sig, and now we can use that. So we'll apt-tac-sig install in curses, and so that'll go ahead and install the package. Now if we clear, it works. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just go ahead and install a couple of utilities before we start setting up our server. First of all, we're going to install this apt-cygwin install cig run srv, and the reason that we're getting this is because we want to be able to create services from within the command line. And we'll get some PHP extensions as well, so we can work with things like Composer, the PHP Dependency Manager, and PHP Myadmin, the PHP Database Manager. So we'll go ahead and apt-cygwin install PHP MB string, and let this run. Apt-cygwin install PHP MySQL, apt-cygwin install PHP MySQLi, and same old song and dance, PHP JSON or JSON-C. And let this go. And apt-cygwin install PHP C type, let me just check that message. What did that say? apt C type. Okay, yeah, it's installed. And apt-cygwin install PHP encrypt, apt-cygwin install PHP far, and apt-cygwin install PHP zip. And now we want to install git as well. So apt-cygwin install git, and this is going to take a little while to run. So I'm just going to open up a fresh terminal as well, so we can take a look at the document root. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me just move this one over here to my other monitor for now. And our document root for Apache is actually going to be in srv www htdocs, and we can see we get the default index.html in there. Also, if we cd into etc, I think it's Apache 2. Nope, it's cd etc ls, and yeah, it is Apache 2. So cd Apache 2 ls, and we can see our httpd.conf file in here. So your Apache configuration file is in here, and so that's what we're going to do with this. Also, our other installation is completed now, so we'll just go ahead and exit out of this and come back into our original terminal. And now we can go ahead and set up all of our services and start working with our server. So first of all, we'll need to set up our cig run serve for our services, and we'll use the script, the config script for that. So it's in user bin cig server config, and yes, we want to install it. And there we go. So now we have a cig server instance here, or service I should say, and now we just want to run that. So we'll cig run srv tac capital S cig server, and give it a minute. There we go. And now we'll need to go ahead and set up Apache. So we'll go into user or usr sbin httpd2-config, and this will take a moment. And yes, we want to install it as a service, and there it comes. It's a service now. And finally, we need to do the same thing for our MySQL installation, but this is going to be a little different. First of all, we'll need to install the databases, so we'll say MySQL install DB and let this run. And well, before I clear it, we'll just go ahead and take note of this suggestion here to start the daemon. We don't need to cd into user to do that. We'll just copy the daemon path here and we'll clear, and now we'll actually need to turn that into a service. So we'll sig run srv tac install and then name the service, which I'm just going to call MySQL tac path, and then the daemon path, daemon script path that we've selected before. And all this is just the MySQL safe script with an ampersand indicating that we want to run it as a daemon. So we'll go ahead and click enter, and there we go. Now we have the service created. So let's go ahead and test it out, see if we can start it. So let's net start MySQL, and the service is starting, and now it's started successfully. So let's test it out. We'll go MySQL tac u root tac p, just click enter, and now we're in the MySQL command line. So we can show databases semicolon, and there's our databases. So we know we have access to that. Clear. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab, and first of all go to localhost. Now this should not work because we haven't started the service yet, so there it is, we don't have it available. So let's just go ahead and net start on our HTTPD 2, I believe it is. That's not valid, so let's see, net start HTTPD 2. There we go, I spelled something wrong. And so the service was started successfully. Let's go ahead and F5 to refresh. Now we can see that it works. So we know all of that works. Let's go ahead and try getting Composer and set up something like Laravel, and we'll install PHP Myadmin as well. So I think probably we'll want to install PHP Myadmin first. So let's go ahead and first of all open up one more new tab and go to PHP Myadmin, PHP Myadmin. We'll just Google that and go to the download page. And I'm just going to grab the latest version, just a zip file or 7-zip or whatever you want to do. Probably should have grabbed 7-zip because I have 7-zip installed. Since I already clicked the zip link, I'm just going to grab that and I'll download it. And I'll open that up with 7-zip. So here's the archive right here. Move this over, and I'll open up another Windows Explorer, and probably I'll want to access this quite a bit, so I'm going to right click and create a new library, call this htdocs, just so I have a library link to my document root, and I'll include the folder under here, under my hard drive. Go to server www htdocs, include folder, and there's our index.php page or index.html page. We'll go ahead and drag our PHP Myadmin in here and let this go. Okay, so now we don't want to type this in the URL every time, so I'm just gonna F2 to rename and call this PHP Myadmin, all lowercase. And I'll just go ahead and get rid of the archive here, and so yeah, I'm gonna go in through my hard drive and go into srv www htdocs and then PHP Myadmin, just so I can use the search feature, because for some reason library links don't like to use the search feature on my computer. Not sure why, but it doesn't like to. So now I have that. One thing that we can see right off the bat is if we go to PHP Myadmin, something's wrong. We're getting a directory. We're not getting the index.php loaded, which is clearly here if we just Control F to search index.php. So there it is. Why is that? So we can go ahead and open up our terminal one more time, and I'm going to nano etc Apache to httpd.conf, and that's not found. Why is that not found? Let's cd etc cd etc ls cd Apache 2. I'm the world's worst speller, so sometimes, let's see, nano httpd.conf. Oh, nano's not found, so we'll need to go ahead and install that. So apt-tac sig install nano. And this is just a lightweight text editor that we can use from within the command line. I like it quite a bit, so I'm going to use that. There we go. And so now we can see all of our Apache rules. Let's just go ahead and set up a couple. First of all, I'm just going to hit Control W and look for directory index. And right here we can see that it will default to an HTML file, but we also want it to default to an PHP file, so I'm just going to put a space, index.php, and I'm going to come down to our other rules in here. Let's see. I want to find the directories. So we have some directory rules for the CGI. We want to find the directory rules for our document root. Alright, so here it is. Directory for srv dub htdocs, and we're going to change a couple of things. We do want to follow send links in our options, indexes, follow send links. We also want multi-views in our options. And we don't want to override none, we want to override all. And we'll just Control X, Y, enter, and clear net stop httpd2, and let this go. Net start httpd2, let this start. So now let's just go ahead and refresh. Okay, so now we have this being loaded, but there is a problem. Right now our configuration will not allow us to log in because we don't have a password on our root, nor do we really need one, but if we try to use that right now, we're going to get an error. So this is going to tell us that our password no password login is forbidden. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this rule here, allow no password, come back into my php myadmin directory, and I'm going to search for config. And the file that I want to open is the default config.default.php, and that is within the libraries directory of php myadmin. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up in Sublime Text, and then use Control F, Control V to paste that. And now we see this is set to false. Let's go ahead and set this to true and save it. Go ahead and exit out of here, and now let's try it. So I'm going to click go, and now we're logged in, and we can see all of the databases that we had in our command line as well. So if we just do that one more time, MySQL, and then show databases, if I spell it right, databases, semicolon, okay. Yeah, I may have a, I'm not sure why it's not showing everything in there. I'm absolutely positive that it did before, but I don't know, and I'm not going to worry about that right now. All we really need to worry about is the fact that we do have the ability to manipulate databases from within here now. And finally, I'm going to show you how to use a great little dependency manager that if you have done any kind of PHP development in the past, then you probably know what it is, but it's called Composer. If you have not used Composer, or you do not know what Composer is, and you do PHP development, what the hell are you doing? Get Composer. This is just absolutely the best sort of solution that you can possibly have for PHP development. And let me explain why. So first of all, I'm over here at getcomposer.org/download. We can see the installation instructions, so that's great. Let's also go to Packagist. So packagist.org, and here you will be able to search for all of the packages that it currently supports that you can just install from the command line, auto load it automatically using PSR0 or PSR4, I believe. But there's a lot of other things in here. There's a tool called Artisan that you can use to do database rollbacks and database updates if you're working with multiple developers. It's just great. I love it. So yeah, we can search something like Illuminate. So the database. Let's just go ahead and finish typing that out. Illuminate database, and this is just the package that that Laravel uses for its Eloquent ORM database, and you can look through all of these packages in here. You can select like the Twig templating system if you want, and just install all of this stuff automatically into your projects. Okay, so I believe I've rambled enough about that. Let's just go ahead and install it. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is come back over. I don't know why I did that, so let me just close out up here. We don't need that any longer. And we are going to come back over to Composer, get composer.org, and copy this PHP command here. And so I'm just going to open up a terminal, and now I'm going to right click to paste and download that into my home directory. And so now we have this working. Let's just go ahead and ls. We can see we have this composer.far file here. So we want to be able to use this globally, and probably the easiest way to do that is just to set an alias. So the way that I'm going to do that, rather than just set a simple temporary alias, is I'm going to nano my .bash rc file, and I'm just going to come all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to set an alias called composer equal to /home/ my username composer.far. Control X, Y, enter, exit, Control Alt T, composer, and now we can see that we get all of these commands in here. And so let's just go ahead and cd into srv www htdocs, and yeah, we'll just be in here for now. ls, and we see we got all of this. So let's go ahead and create a project with Composer. So how we do this is we first of all make sure that we're in our document root, or in whatever directory that you want to create your project in, and then we'll use Composer create -project Laravel, and then name your project, which I'm just going to call this Laravel, and we'll use tac prefer tac dist for preferred distribution, and just go ahead and let this run. And this is going to use our git package and everything to download and install a project directory called Laravel into our htdocs directory, and then we'll see it load up. And this could take quite a bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until it's completed. And well, let's see, what do we got? Invalid. Okay, could not find package. I misspelled that, so make sure that you spell everything right. So it's Laravel, and then we'll do that. Again, I'm going to pause the video until it's completed, and we can see that it's downloading now, and I'll be back once it's completed. Alright, so it's finished and we have everything downloaded. You're going to see a few errors, however that's not really a problem at the moment. So we can see that everything has actually been installed successfully in the messages here. Let's just go ahead and run a ls, and I'll put a tac-lah on there, and we can see this Laravel folder is now in our htdocs folder. So let's just go ahead and go into localhost /Laravel, and right now we'll get a directory index, but that is because we're not loading the public directory. All of the this is a model view controller, if you don't know what Laravel is, and all of our information is being passed through the index file in the public directory. Now we can see our "You have arrived" splash screen from Laravel, and so we know that we have successfully installed it. Now that's pretty much all I need to show you. I think so, at least right now, with our Cygwin installation. We may go through in the future and create some stuff with Laravel, do some other kinds of stuff with Composer, maybe even some more stuff with Cygwin, but right now, if you followed this video, then you should pretty much get the gist of how to use it effectively and how much power it really has. You should have an idea of how much power it really has. Alright, so if you've made it through this much with me, then I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in another video coming soon.